party people in the place to be. What up, what up, what up? It's your brother Z to the O without the E. I hope everybody is doing well on this Friday. A lot of stuff to cover. A lot of stuff to cover. Yeah. What up? I'm covering some things. I don't know if people really want to hear it. Y'all get in here, hit the like button, tap, tap, tap. I just hit the like button. Who's in here right now? I'm going to wait for a second. Everybody get in here. Let me say what's up. Let me chat with folk. What up, chat room? Let's get busy. You already know what it is. It's the ZoWhat morning show. Not really morning. More of the ZoWhat brunch afternoon show. I don't know. The ZoWhat brunch show is a terrible name, by the way. Right? Is everybody good? Is everybody all right? Hey, listen. Y'all in for a treat today. I don't know what you got to do. If you got to hit the like button, subscribe, support, share. I don't know exactly what to do on YouTube anymore because I'm only on here once a week. And I used to be on here a lot, but YouTube just doesn't really want to play fair with the content. They want to subdue your words. That's the best way to say it. All right. You already know what it is. I like to support black-owned businesses. Number one, I'm sitting in a black-owned business. This is OneStream.tv. All right? OneStream.tv. I got a lot to cover today, but I like to support black-owned businesses. Let me just say this to the black-owned, to the people who support me, because I get a lot of new people and they be tripping. It be our people that be tripping. Listen, I'm not Amazon.com. I'm Zoe Williams. I'm one dude. I don't have a warehouse, right? So if you order something from me and you don't get it in the next couple of days, and then you ask for a refund, we typically, especially it comes through PayPal, you get your refund. It comes through PayPal, you get your refund. But that impacts our business in a very negative way. I'm not going to be able to get it to you expressly as you would like for me to get it to you. I'm sorry, but people who have worked with me and have been riding with me for a long time, they have shown me a great level of patience. And maybe there are new people here that don't understand that this is a one-man operation for the most part. This is a one-man operation. Here, point in case. You see my TJ Maxx bag? Oh, it's 20. He is risen and book orders, right? 20 of them in there. There's 20 of them in there, and I want to ship them off today. But what's funny is you'll buy the He is Risen, but you won't buy a book. You want it to happen really, really quick. Oh, get my package out to me. I need this for this weekend, blah, 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 blah. But one hand doesn't wash the other. You don't say, oh, well, what about Zoe's business? Zoe is a publisher. He's an author. Let me support his business. No, I'm supporting me. I'm only supporting Zoe because it supports me. I don't think Zoe's books support me. But I know the sex pill supports me. Do you see? So there are those orders. I told people last week, I said, hey, I got 200 books remaining. Buy all my books, please. It helps my business. It helps fund the next book that people are asking me about. Where's the next book? Where's the next book? As if books just fall out of the sky. They don't. Books, especially for self-published authors, books are supported by that self-publisher's audience. That's how they come out. So if you're not supporting the current one and yet looking for the future one, do you see? And then, oh, get my package out to me ASAP. And I'm only supporting an aspect of your business, which is the enhancement pills. I'm not really into anything else you're talking about. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, we're going to talk about it today. We got to talk about it. There's a lot going on. So, those packages are going out. Thank you for the 4 or 5 people that purchased a copy of my book. My book is available, The Shrouded Lighthouse. Thank you, Brother Lloyd Hinton. On this show, we do a 30-people challenge, 30-person challenge every week. I anticipate we're going to have at least 200 or 300 people in here at the height of this show. I encourage that 30 of those people do what Lloyd Hinton just did, and that's hit the $, right? Which is the super chat. Or you can go to my Cash App and support that way. My Cash App is $ZoWhat Netter. $ZoWhat Netter. If I have moderators in here, please post my Cash App, $. I count both. We're going for 30 people to drop at the very least $5. That's how you support. Also, if you want He Is Risen, or if you're going to act on my call to action to support my book, go to my website, MrZoWhat.com. Not He Is Risen. It's called the Lazarus Pill now. Basically the same thing. Go to my website, MrZoWhat.com. Hey, thank you. Man, your name is so long. I don't know. What is it? DPRKDREPROBIN 1963. We appreciate it. Thank you, man. Thank you for the support. We're encouraging everybody to get in here and support, because I got a bombshell of a topic that we're going to cover today. But also, I want you guys to continue to support Total Package Energy. TotalPackageEnergy.com. Total Package Energy is a black-owned business energy drink company. They have pea protein. They have vitamin C. They have vitamin B. They got all these supplements, and then they're famous for their legendary energy shot. Go to their website, TotalPackageEnergy.com. Tell them Zoe Williams sent you. All right? Also, continue to support Russell Herbals. That's Dr. Russell Harrison. Please continue to support that, brother. What else? Gods and Money. GODS and the at and the and sign MONY. MONY. Gods and Money. Tell them Zoe Williams sent you. Gods and Money. Tell them Zoe Williams sent you. All right? All right, I'm promoting. All right, let's get to it. A couple of things going on. You've seen it online quite a bit, and I want to get to it right now. Let me pull it up right now. And I'm shouting out everybody that is supporting. Please support. Hit the $sign at the bottom of the chat. That's how you support the chat, the channel itself. And also, Doctor said he got all 3 books. Thank you. I'll get 2 more next week for gifts. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Yes. Okay. That's what I was trying to say. Here we go. What's happening? I see that everybody coming in, showing up in a real way. what is that? Schmell Good 63. We appreciate that. Please continue to support. All right. So you guys have been seeing it in the news, right? They're talking about Iran, Iran, right? And they're saying even during, I guess, the 80s, during the Iran hostage controversy, that please start a Patreon with sub tiers, post all the content. I have a Patreon. Absolutely. You can join by being on this page. I have a Patreon. But good idea. MD Jackson 22. Thank you. We moving, y'all. We moving. All right, so during the Iran, controversy back in the 80s, the hostage crisis, it was said and it was documented that Iran dealt somewhat favorably with black folk, released black people and women. I saw a clip with Ayatollah Khomeini speaking way back then. I was like, oh, interesting. And now, today, the same kind of talk, the same kind of rhetoric is being pushed around. Iran is saying that, this ain't the black man's war and this, that, and the third. What does any of that acknowledgement matter if we still think like white folk? Y'all heard about Papoose? Did y'all hear the Papoose diss to 50? Y'all hear the Papoose diss? $50 says Papoose has 0 hits. Papoose fires back by saying his breath was smelling like shit. Who are the Iranians acknowledging? Are they acknowledging our talent as musicians and rappers and creative types? Who are they acknowledging? When they talk about releasing, back in the 80s, it was the hostage. We're going to release all the black people. Today, it's, black man, you ain't got nothing to do with this, right? I'm just asking the question. I'm talking about the culture at large. What's happening in the culture at large? Bro Tip, I see you, man. Thank you. Thank you for supporting the channel. What's happening in the culture at large? We got beefs. We got battles. Pastor Jamal Bryant just said the Target boycott is over. But is the American thought process over? What significance does the boycott have if you still think like your generational slave master? You want life to get back to normal in the same way that he wants life to get back to normal. We boycotted Target. For what reason? Raymond, it's just that you're not getting notifications. I haven't been on Monday in a couple of months now. Yeah, it's Fridays now because my schedule has changed. But if you still think like the dominant society, what does a boycott matter? What What do you think they're going to do? They're going to change their ways to assuage you? Did Target change their ways? I'm asking y'all. Right? Sir Preston says, I didn't know he spoke for us. Well, I wouldn't say he speaks for all of us, but I would say he speaks for a significant amount of us. Everybody hit the like button. That's important. Please hit the like button. I'm bringing up these stories because it matters. Right? It matters, and it aligns with what I want to talk about. White folk are uncomfortable seeing themselves as criminal. Yes, I can, Ezekiel, if you support this channel. Ezekiel the Max, support the channel, man, and I got you. White people struggle with criminality, right? Black people are unseen, unheard, always have been. Oh, they don't feel pain. The women don't feel pain. The men are not men, they're animals, right? And then, one of the biggest scandals in the world is happening, and I think some of the best ways to get our attention off of it is to create a war. Is to make life even more chaotic. Representative James Comer claims Trump's DOJ told New Mexico to stop Einstein Ranch investigation in 2019. Y'all hear the papoose diss? Oh yeah, you know 50's diss of T.I. and the whole family will be immortalized because 50's a genius, because 50 incorporated his diss to them in the TV show theme. So now the TV show theme is going to be a hit because it plays every episode, every new episode. That's what we own. But Iran, they said, hey man, black man, you're not a part of this. They said it in 2026, and they said it in the 80s. Who do they see that we don't see in ourselves? Who do they see in us that we don't see in ourselves? I mean, I'll wait. I'll read your comments. Why? I'm interested to see what y'all think. Listen, man. But before I even get going, because I got something to talk about. I'm so invested in my people. My homeboy at the Cigar Lounge was talking about my dedication to the work that I'm doing yesterday. And he was like, let me just, do you know there's no engineer here? He just turned on the machine and left. The engineer that was supposed to be here didn't come. Said he was coming yesterday, didn't come. So I got videos and all kind of stuff just up and ready to be shown, but they not here. I'm dedicated to the work, but the work can't effectively be done because we don't move like a Bowwevil. Many people come into this show for entertainment. And sometimes I could be entertaining, but I don't fancy myself as an entertainer. right? So I gave you a quick brief of everything that's going on in the world. Well, not everything, but a lot of the hot topics. From 50 Cent, the ongoing diss battles, and, oh, that's right, World War III. Oh, they might hit California, I heard. Sir Person, thank you. I hope they don't start the draft because I feel they're going to target our young brothers and sisters. Yeah? So here we go. Are you guys familiar with a bollweevil? A bollweevil is an insect. They surmise that it got here in the 1800s. A bollweevil is a little black insect that eats cotton. So, black folk who had to work the cotton fields made folk songs about the bollweevil. Black people's music is coded. It's still coded today. When we listen to Kendrick and all of these diss records, they're coded. Double, triple, quadruple entendres. They're coded. They're coded with language and slang that everybody can't pick up. Well, that's been a part of our heritage forever. Right? Music. Okay? Bollweevil. So the people that work, field hands that work the cotton fields, whenever they saw one bollweevil, they were happy about it. Why? Because they knew bollweevils don't come as singles. If a bollweevil is there, that means thousands. If you see one, that means thousands of them are there, and your crops are already in danger. What did that mean for the field hand or the slave? That meant the field hand and the slave didn't have to work. Right? A sign of a bollweevil meant relief. This takes me to my ultimate topic. Right? Are y'all listening? Keep pushing, bro. The tide is turning towards you. The children need to know. With what? They don't even have a military, I heard. I'm trying to keep up with your comments as well. When the colonized defend the colonizer's God map, I want to start with a symbol that does not come from theory. It comes from the field, the bollweevil, a small black insect that tore through cotton crops across the American South. To the plantation owner, the bollweevil meant loss. To the landowner, the bollweevil meant economic disaster. But to many black laborers whose lives were tied to endless work in those same cotton fields, the bollweevil could mean something else entirely. Because once you saw one, you knew more were already there. And once they came, the crops would fail. And when the crop failed, the field stopped demanding of your body. So, in the old folk songs, the bollweevil was not always feared. Sometimes it was welcomed. Not because destruction itself was good, but because the destruction of the system meant relief from the system. Are you listening to what I'm saying? Destruction of the system meant relief from the system. Today's folks are so integrated in the system that it gives them identity. It gives them meaning. When a black man says another black man is broke and he ain't worth nothing, I'm going to say, do you print your own money, brother? Or is the broke man's money and your money the same money? That means you're both subject to the same system. The bollweevil did not overthrow the plantation from the outside. It ate the plantation from the inside. And on this topic today, that is the major metaphor. You see, white folk are the bollweevil to black spirituality. And the cotton that white folk ate is self-knowledge. They ate our self-knowledge. See, when one white folk shows up, we should have known, oh, many more are going to come, just like the bollweevil in the field. See, white folk, white intelligentsia, white knowledge, not right knowledge, white knowledge, operates like the bollweevil. It feeds on the knowledge of self of indigenous folks. Oh no, Zo. Yeah. The bollweevil ate the plantation from the inside. Listen, I want to ask a question that lives at the level of consciousness, not just religion, okay? Not at a religious level. It's serious. What happens when the plantation disappears physically, but survives psychologically? What happens when the chains fall off the body, but stay wrapped around the way we define God, history, and ourselves? And even deeper, what happens when the descendants of the enslaved begin defending the very spiritual map that once justified their enslavement? Listen, I've been meaning to do this for a while. What happens when the descendants of the enslaved begin defending the very spiritual map that once justified their enslavement? This is why I call this conversation today Bowwevil theology. Eating the plantation from the inside. That's what happened to black folk. If black folk, metaphorically speaking, are the plantation, we were the plantation literally and figuratively, because that plantation couldn't do nothing without us, right? We were the economy. We were the machines. We were everything to the plantation. So if black people metaphysically, metaphorically, are the plantation, white folk are the bollweevil. They showed up in our lives and began feeding on our knowledge of self, which is our psycho-spiritual cotton. They started to feed on our psycho-spiritual cotton, our knowledge of self. And you know, when one bollweevil show up, they all, first it was the Portuguese, those from Portugal. Then the Spaniards. Oh boy, then the English, and then the Dutch, and then the French, and then, we talking about how they ate the world's cotton. Because maybe liberation at this stage does not come from burning the field down. Maybe it comes from quietly consuming the mental scaffolding that told us our ancestors were demons. Our rituals were evil. I'm talking to Pastor Bryant. I'm talking to Pastor T.D. Jakes, Bishop Omer, Noel Jones. I'm talking to all the pastors, all the brothers. If you teach African spirituality is demonology, who taught you that? When African spirituality didn't really have a demon. Everybody hit it, hit it, hit it, hit it. Y'all got to support. If y'all want to get this work, I got to give you this work. Support, support, support. Get there. Bowwevil theology. Eating the plantation from the inside. Because maybe liberation at this stage does not come from burning the field down. Maybe it comes quietly from consuming the mental scaffolding that told us our ancestors were demons, our rituals were evil, our memory was dangerous, and our past was something to be feared instead of studied. They study it and practice it. Got a goofy white lady running around with her fingers black and rolling with rap stars, right? And we go, oh, she's evil. No, she's counterfeit. Maybe the new synonym for evil should be counterfeit. Maybe it's evil when you copy. Oh, Beyonce is a witch. So was your grandmother. If your grandmother said, we're not using aspirin or Tylenol, I got something for you that'll fix you right on up. That's a witch. You think cooking ain't chemistry? You think cooking ain't alchemy? Wrong. That's why our grandmothers knew to put love in it. You think them women wasn't mindful of people falling sick when they felt bad about somebody in that house while they were in the kitchen? Are black pastors passive-aggressive, spiritual white supremacists? Because you've been taught to apologize and protect a spiritual arm of racism. It's a question, pastors. If you've got the answer, please share it forthwith. So if the APA, American Psychological Association, if they apologized for their role in marginalizing brown people, October 29th, 2021, if they apologized, anthropology is on board. Yeah, we were born out of foolishness. The anthropological organization, we were born out of foolishness, racism, ethnosentrism. We were born out of all of that, and we had to change our ways and become more culturally relative. When does the church step up and say, we are ethnocentric in our teachings as well, which is why we saw Florida Evans on television mad as hell that Ned DeWino was depicted as Black Jesus. Our memory was dangerous. Our past was something to be feared instead of studied. And that leads us to the real subtitle. When the colonized defends the colonizer's God map. Now let's be clear, because this conversation requires a certain level of precision. This is not an attack on Christianity, because Christianity is inherently African. The oldest form of it is from Ethiopia. So where does the pontiff's power lie if the oldest form of Christianity is in Ethiopia? Y'all got to make your own version and then appoint your own head over it, but your head follows the same principles that all African belief systems, spiritual belief systems, had in place, i.e. the vicar of Christ, which is the physical representation of God, Jesus, the Holy Ghost, the Son, all in one on earth is the Pope. And y'all was running around selling indulgences. An indulgence in the Catholic belief system is you can buy forgiveness. They looked away when the Jews wanted to go in the 40s and take Palestine. This is why the Pope who just passed, I forgot his name, this is why he came to Israel to ask for forgiveness for the Catholic Church. Because the Pope at that time turned a blind eye to what was going on in Palestine. You see? The Catholic Church had a lot to do with racism, had a lot to do with anthropology, and used early anthropologists' information as guidance to take over the New World and subjugate its people. The Vicar of Christ is just a reimagining of what Pharaoh was. The physical representation of God on planet Earth, a walking God. The European said if the African can do it and we stole everything we got from him, how come we can't set up our own organization? The first Christianity was Ethiopian, African. Ethiopian itself is a European name that we probably shouldn't be using. But it even goes deeper. Wait a minute. Zeus, his name, his secret name was Ethiops, which means the great black one. Europe, Zeus stole somebody's daughter from Mesopotamia. Her name was Europa. She was melanated too. So even European is coming from a black source. The secret name of your highest god is the black one, Ethiops. Later, that Greek terminology was applied to a city, a country, a state on the continent, Ethiopia. Before that, Abyssinia. Before that, Kush. What does Kush mean? And is it different than the Indian Kush, the Kush Mountains? Wait a minute. What is that different than the Sumerian Kish? Wait, they all mean black face, black heads? Huh. So it's 2026. Fast forward to 2026. You go to the seminary, theology school, to study hermeneutics and apologetics, to make Christianity fit. It is a version, I should say, a perversion of the version your ancestors originally wrote. This is not an argument that African spirituality is automatically correct about everything. Yes, it is. This is not about replacing somebody's belief system with another. It is not. This is about asking historical, anthropological, and philosophical questions. Who taught African people to call African spirituality demonic? Even if you go back in slavery times, our stuff was mixed. Native American, African, European. It was mixed. You had Islam, Ifa, Hoodoo. You had all of Native American belief systems and Christianity. All of it was hybridized. But one thing's for sure, the European versions of Christianity were created by white folk. And white folk, after the 17th century or the Renaissance period, thought that they were intelligent. So they shut down spirituality or religiosity. Remember, during Galileo's time, he discovered that we weren't the center of the damn galaxy. But he couldn't say anything because of religiosity. But once the church started losing power and there was a move towards science, he now could start saying things. But even during Newton's time, Newton couldn't really drop the jewels he wanted to drop because religion was still so powerful. Nobody knew that Newton was a hermeticist. Hermetics is the European recontextualization of the mystery schools of Egypt. Who taught African people to call African spirituality evil? You got preachers out here now. Listen, I'm asking questions because I'm a perpetual student. I don't consider myself to be a master of any of it. I will sit and listen to anybody who can answer these questions. They're real questions. And when I call you to the floor, it's not calling you to the floor disrespectfully. It's calling you to the conversation. Let's answer these questions with fact, not with just passion and charisma, but with fact. Who taught African people to call African spirituality demonic? Because if we answer that question honestly, the conversation changes. Across the world, when European empires expanded through colonialism, missionary work, and the transatlantic slave trade, they did not just bring religion, they brought a spiritual hierarchy of the sacred. At the top sat European interpretations of God. At the bottom sat African memory, but I'm going to go even deeper. The African wasn't even included. Missionaries did not enter Africa saying these people have a different cosmology. This is ethnocentrism. They said these people worship idols. This is ethnocentrism. Are black preachers in America passive-aggressively practicing spiritual ethnocentrism when they use the interpretation, the education, and the ideological scaffolding of Western knowledge? Western interpretation. If you using what the white man said is the truth, are you passive-aggressively participating in spiritual ethnocentrism? Pastor, I'm interested. Listen, this is not an indictment of you as a person. Any pastor. I understand that the black church, when black folk touch anything, it becomes ours. When we got our version of the church, the rhythms changed. The energy changed, huh? Everything changed. So I'm not saying that y'all are wrong. I'm saying, are you doing the job spiritually, psychologically, of the Western Bowwevil? Are you now feeding on the knowledge of self of your people as did the European, the Western spiritual Bowwevil? Oh, the cotton is our knowledge of self, and that's what they feed on. That's what they live on. Do you see how the Westerner came in and said, these people worship idols. These people practice witchcraft. These people serve demons. We didn't have a demon. Y'all believe in demons. And once a people's spirituality gets labeled evil, everything else becomes easier. If their God is wrong, their culture is wrong. If their culture is wrong, their knowledge is wrong. If their knowledge is wrong, their humanity becomes negotiable. This is not speculation. This is actual fact. Historians of religion and anthropology have documented how colonial systems often classified African traditions as superstition rather than religion, especially when those traditions stood in the way of political control. Black pastor, did they teach you this in seminary? And how do you live with it? Enslaved societies across the Caribbean, African-derived practices were not simply debated, they were outlawed. Why were they outlawed? Obeah became illegal in Jamaica. Why? Because they're part of the colonies that were colonized by who? Europe, the UK, Britain, the British. Obeah became illegal in Jamaica. Voodoo became feared in Haiti. African ritual life was suppressed throughout the Americas. Not because Europeans suddenly discovered demons, but because they discovered resistance. Spiritual memory gives people an identity. Listen, they wanted to eat the spiritual memory. Come on, man. Solidarity makes people harder to control. So the most efficient form of domination is not breaking the body, it's breaking the cosmology. I'm respectful of everybody's religion. You know why? I was on the golf course last weekend with my nephew, and my nephew was saying, well, what's your belief? I don't have one. I've studied them all, though, and I don't have one. Because I've gotten to a point of consciousness to where I recognize God is pervasive through all things, and the word God itself is a perversion and a severe limitation on how infinite source reality is. I don't have a culturally linked belief system. I understand etymology too well. I understand etymology too well. I understand theology too well. I'm learning now more than ever. What we consider the scientific branches are subject to, have been subject to racial bias. And they will use what is considered to be in alignment with the scientific model to justify a lie. Just so they can say, oh, that's scientifically sound. It's a lot of people in here. I hope you guys are supporting. Can I get you guys to support the channel? We got 11 out of 30 here on the super chat. It's 229 people in here. Everybody put up an emoji if this information is resonating on any level. If it's making any type of sense on any level. Is it? Let me see your emojis. Put up your emoji. How does this topic make you feel? Put up your emojis right now. Come on, let's do it right now. Call to goddamn action. Move, move, move. Okay, let me get out of here. Y'all not moving. Fuck it. All right. Hey, Jeffrey, thank you. Thank you for the Cash App. Marlon, thank you. Well, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Cash Apps. Thank you for the Cash App. Philip, Lloyd, KG, Marlon, Jeffrey. Thank you. 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 All right, now we're slowly moving. I see y'all. I see y'all. Y'all in here. I see y'all. Please go to my Cash App, $ZoWhatNetter. If you guys could do me a favor and post my Cash App. I'm telling you, I'm in here by myself. There's nobody running the board. I'm just in here talking, right? Please support. Go to my Cash App, $ZoWhatNetter. Please order some of my books. I got 195 copies remaining. Thank you. Thank you for the support. I'm going to stop for a second just to acknowledge everybody supporting. So please, please, please support, right? I'm trying to sell all 200 of my books. Now, I don't expect 200 people in here to go buy the book. But if I can get 60 orders, you guys would do me a solid favor. You guys would lift up my business. Can you go to my website, MrZoWhat.com? MrZoWhat.com, and not only order your sex pills, your herbs, but order my book. The Shrouded Lighthouse is available. I have 195 copies remaining, and maybe the goal is 30 to 50 copies on this episode. That's only a third of the people that are in here right now. And then the other thing I would ask you guys to do is hit the like button, share, subscribe, all of that. All right? Let's get back to it. Prentice, thank you. Thank you. That's 13 out of 30. Let's keep pushing. And we ask for a minimal amount, the price of a cup of coffee. But if you want to give more, you can give more. Please support, 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 support. Thank you. Oh, y'all now y'all getting it in. One immaculate, brotherhood, fatherhood, manhood, fatherhood. One love from Eatonville, Florida. Love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud. Corinthians 13:4. We'll take it. We'll take the love. We'll take the love. 15 out of 30. Let's keep pushing. So remember, identity gives people solidarity. People been saying Jay-Z is evil because do as thou wilt was a statement by a man who called himself the great Lucifer or the great beast. Aleister Crowley. Aleister Crowley was into all of the secret societies and secret orders and all of that, right? Yes, he was a part of all of these orders. Dressed like an Egyptian. So Egyptians are evil too, right? Isn't it convenient that when they write a Bible, the bad guys in the Bible are the same people? The Jesus story is the origin of the Jesus. So the Egyptians are evil in the Bible, the bad people. But anytime anybody got in trouble in Judea that was of worth, whether it was Jesus, Joseph, whoever, they run to Egypt and hide. Although Joseph was sold into slavery and then rose up and became a great man, sold into slavery by his brothers. Huh? But the Egyptians are bad. But your Christ story comes from Egypt. Isis, or Osiris, Isis, and Heru. This is an actual fact. The theogamy scene at the Temple of Man in Luxor tells you that. Osiris is considered a god, his wife is considered a goddess, and the son was considered the first solar messiah. Horus, Heru. It's called the theogamy scene. Marriage to God. Theos, God. Agamy, right? Gamos, marriage. Marriage to God. So the whole concept of God coming down and having sex with a woman, you see Zeus do it. You see Yahweh do it. Where did they get it? Identity gives people solidarity. Solidarity makes people harder to control. So the most efficient form of domination is not breaking the body, it's breaking the cosmology. Once a people begin to see their own ancestors as evil, they will police themselves. If I go to theological school, seminary, if I go to seminary school and I raise the question, hey, bishop, pastor, preacher, whoever, professor, teacher, are these studies culturally relative approved? Because that's the counterbalance to ethnocentrism. Are we talking African spiritualities here at seminary? Hell no. So you still practicing ethnocentrism. There's no cultural relativism in the teaching in seminary school? Or is it a select few beliefs, but you don't get that deep in it? Spiritual ethnocentrism exists in the fact of you say everybody else going to hell if they're not fortified, covered by the blood of Jesus. That's spiritual ethnocentrism. I'm interested. I'm asking questions. I'm interested to know. I don't know. Now, here's where the conversation turns inward, because the concept tonight is not what Europeans said. All right. Today, the question is not what Europeans have said, what Europeans have reinterpreted, remixed. It's not that. The question is, why do black people still use white vocabulary to explain a God concept that their people were the first people to imagine? Our people were the first people to imagine. Why are we using the same vocabulary as our oppressor? Why does African or Native American ritual get called demonic by the European, but European rituals get called holy? In the church, in the Catholic Church, you're burning frankincense, but the Vatican doesn't produce frankincense. You go to Ethiopia to get your frankincense for your rituals, but your rituals are sanctified, and you can sell forgiveness. Why does incense in the church become sacred, but incense in Africa or in African homes that practice African spirituality become witchcraft? Why is calling on saints acceptable, but calling on ancestors is considered demonic and condemned? Why do symbols from ancient Egypt become philosophy when they appear in Greek texts, but become mysticism when they appear in European, or they do become mysticism when they appear in European traditions, become allegory when they appear in Freemasonry, but become evil devil worship when they appear in the African community? So to the Freemason, it's allegory, Egyptian iconography is symbology, right? The Mason, symbol literate, right? The ancient Egyptian was the height of philosophy to the Greeks in their texts, right? Then further on to other Europeans, it becomes mysticism, hermeticism, right? It's lauded. That's Aleister Crowley. He's an Egyptologist, bona fide, went to school for it, Egyptologist. He, like most white folk, were so enamored with our ancient cultures. He went to Egypt, went into a cave, and said there he met a spirit who gave him a book. I ain't going to tell you the book. I know the name of it. I ain't going to tell you the name of it. You go look it up. But just like white folk who don't understand spirit, he went too far, trying to connect and contact with beings to try. Why? Because he's reading the Book of Solomon and he's thinking, oh, I can control demons and this, that. That's not how black spirituality, African spirituality works. So he gets labeled the most evil man alive. Well, at the same time, he has a brilliant interpretation of the Tao Te Ching that he interpreted out of Cantonese. We the most nuanced, the most context-lacking folk in America. Motherfucker tried to argue me down about a damn theory, thinking that a theory is not important, when theories have to be rigidly tested in order to even become considered a theory. A theory is 1 trillion light years away from an opinion. A theory is fact-based. And all these motherfuckers who trying to play stoic and try to play deep and try to play like they got knowledge. Listen, you would be speaking in theories if you did, not your opinions. Why does Egypt become evil in devil worship in the black community? You see the all-seeing eye, you see it? That's the white man's perversion of your belief system. Didn't Jesus say, let all your eyes become one? That's in your book, Christian. What did he mean? But Egyptology becomes devil worship when they appear in the African community, in the African American community, in African American homes. Same symbols, different judgment. That is not theology, that is ethnocentrism. In anthropology, ethnocentrism means judging another's culture by the standards of your own and assuming your own worldview is the universal one. And for centuries, Europe had the global power to decide what counted as civilization, what counted as religion, and what counted as superstition. So when African spirituality was labeled primitive, that label did not come from neutrality, scientific neutrality. Is there a spiritual neutrality? Is there a theological neutrality? Or are black pastors regurgitating centuries of racially coded ethnocentrism through the version of Christianity you follow today? So when African spirituality was labeled primitive, that label did not come from neutrality, from scientific neutrality. It came from power. Now let's go even deeper. Because the psychological layer may be the most uncomfortable part of all. Many of us inherited our understanding of Christianity through interpretation shaped during slavery and colonial rule. We know for a fact that scripture was used to justify slavery. I showed you last week a damn slave Bible with the verses hacked up in order to reinforce the slave's position and to reinforce massa's position. Why does this matter during World War III, Zo? Why does this matter? Because 50 and T.I. and everybody and Papoose and Mike Tyson and Mayweather and everybody, and everybody's getting exposed right now. And there's so much drama. Why this talk now? Because in a time where the world is in upheaval, the confusion in our people seemed to rise to the surface. Political differences, religious differences, philosophical differences. And when you got a gang of unresolved differences and you don't control none of the resources on the planet Earth, damn, that just feel crazy to me. Am I wrong for, man, y'all tell me, am I wrong for speaking on this? Even when the church was at its height in African American culture, the church was still known for condescension, spiritual condescension, looking down on its parishioners. You ain't good enough. See, daddy, singers got soul too. Like, listen, no God put you in the catbird seat to look down on someone else's spiritual development. Did you learn that? from white people? Did we inherit some of their ethnocentristic traits? In the study of anthropology, all cultures are inherently ethnocentristic. So, you mean the white bollweevil that feeds on the cotton of knowledge of self ate our ethnocentrism? Do you follow the metaphor? Mike, do we have a video of the Bowwevil song? I want to play the Bowwevil song. And while I'm doing that, I would encourage everybody to go to my Cash App, $ ZoWhat Netter. Mike just walked back in. I would encourage everybody to go to my Cash App, drop a 5 spot, 10 spot, whatever you have. Please support, or do it right here. The $ down at the bottom of my channel. Please support either way. The Cash App, I get it right now. The Super Chat, I get it maybe a month from now. But please, please, please support. I want you guys to listen to the Bowwevil song so you can understand the metaphor that's being used today. Play attention.
Hey, hey, Bowwevil, where's your native home? Way down in the bottom, among the cotton and cone. Bowwevil, yeah, Bowwevil everywhere. Doggone the Bowwevil, be sitting on that square. First time I seen a Bowwevil, he's sitting on that square. Next time I see him, he had his family there. And if I'm asking much for some meat and meal, 'tain't nothing done, old man. Bowwevil's in your field. Bowwevil's in your field. Bowwevil's in your field. Ain't nothing done, man. Bowwevil's in your field. Hey, hey, Bowwevil, where's your native home? Way down in the bottom, among the cotton and corn, among the cotton and corn.
Beyonce is the top earning woman in music. She makes around $105 million, or at least she did last year. So along with all those riches, fame also brings bizarre allegations, like the lady who went to court accusing Beyonce of practicing extreme witchcraft.
Beyonce sure can cast a spell with her performances. But is she also practicing witchcraft? In head-scratching court papers, Kimberly Thompson, a former drummer for the singer's all-girl band, is accusing Beyonce of, get this, extreme witchcraft and magic spells and the murder of my pet cat. She's actually filed a restraining order against the star. Sounds kooky, right? And that's probably why a judge immediately denied Thompson's request for a restraining order. There's always been whispers that Beyonce belongs to some kind of secret society. They point to hand signals like this as an example of her communicating cryptic messages. But the accusations of witchcraft take things to a whole new strange level.
it just blows my mind. We're the real superheroes. Black people all over the world is what the real Marvel universe looks like. See, white people got technology and CGI and can aggrandize certain things. But the real magical people on planet Earth are the melanated people. It's just that simple. We were the authors of philosophy, psychology, spirituality, the ideation of God itself. Even witchcraft. Yeah, that's an African thing, witch. But the way they're framing witch is from a European lens. And that lens, what was that, the 1900s, early 1900s? When did their version of the witch show up? An African version of a witch is Age. Age is part of Umi Osorongo, if I'm not mistaken, Osorongo. They call them the Night Mothers. If you know anything about Star Wars and the Star Wars lore, George Lucas's crew snatched the Night Mothers to be presented as some tribal Africanoid kind of group that created Darth Maul. And then you saw the sister that was in the movie. Who's the brother that they were like a black Bonnie and Clyde? She's a pretty sister. Chocolate, tall, beautiful sister. Jodie something. She played Mother Townsend in the Acolyte Star Wars. They steal all of our archetypes and then say they demonic. So when you talk about Oshun, because people say, oh, she's all in yellow and the gold, and that's Oshun. Oshun was the sweetness of life. That's what she represented, metaphorically, philosophically, psychologically, culturally, for Yoruba folk. And now, mind you, there are different names, same belief system all over the continent of Africa, just framed differently, that meant the same thing. The difference is Olodumare, in an Ifa or Yoruba sense, is more equivalent in description to what theoretical physicists called the GUT, G-U-T, Grand Unified Theory, or what they're now calling the foundational reality of existence. Right? It is beyond comprehension. All things emanate from it. It is impersonal in a sense. Do you see? That's Olodumare. The description of Olodumare is more like that. Whereas from an Abrahamic belief system, which is Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, God becomes more tribal. I'm only for this group of people. Everybody's going to be punished. I got emotions. I got emotions like a human being. If you worship somebody else, I'll kill you. And my anger is kindled against you for 40 years, like resentment. Like if God had a therapist, the tribal God had a therapist, he might be diagnosed with some type of disorder. The African God is universal, infinite, multi-directional, multi-dimensional. That was the African belief system. And in order for lower levels of consciousness to understand, you need a duality, masculine and feminine, light and dark. Out of these sciences come as above, so below for the Mason. Out of these philosophy comes the Hermetic principle. How the hell can Masons be Masons and your mother lodge be in England and everything is Egyptian. You, like George Washington, are wearing an apron. Where did your apron come from? It came from Amun-Ra. So the witch in Africa knew herbs, could speak you down if you came for her. What does speak you down mean? Same thing the female African slaves did to the white male slave masters. That's why they had to put those masks on their mouths to keep them from speaking them down. You can speak, the tongue has the power to speak life, and the tongue has the power to speak death. This is inherently black. We are the seasoning salt. We are the MSG of life here on planet Earth. Have been this whole time. Another reason why they don't want to integrate African spirituality, because African spirituality, quite frankly, gets weird. Because if you go to Mali and you now got to talk about aliens, the nomos from Sirius B. Of course, the Mali, the Dogon, didn't call it Sirius B. Potolo is what they called it. Potolo. Sirius B isn't even visible from the surface of the earth. Especially for a primitive group of people. How did they see it? How did they see Sirius B? How was Sirius B seen? If you do any research on the Dogon, you'll find, after the collapse of Egypt, the priesthood went west to Mali. The Dogon people rallied around them. So in their cosmology, which is eerily similar to the Zulu cosmology, Africa, one big ass continent. The people on the continent are older than the damn name the European gave them. So fuck the word Africa. The folk on the land older than the name. Same belief system. Dogon, Mali, right? South Africa. The Dogons talk about the Nomo. Came from Sirius B. Reptilian folk. Come out in the night to speak to the people. Come out in the night to speak to the people because the sun was a little too much for them. So during the day, they stayed in underwater pools where they cooled off, and then when they came out at night, they spoke to the people, delivered the wisdom unto the people, and then they even said they mixed in with the people sexually. Genesis chapter 6, anybody? So one thing I know is Europeans ain't original. They didn't create a damn thing. Now they're the best at capitalizing. You create it, I'll capitalize. That's what they the best at. But creating, no, we got that. So a witch was a female with the power to speak life or death into your life. She brought sweetness, she brought kindness, but if you disrespected and did not acknowledge her power, she brought destruction. She brought wealth. You got Christian women running around here right now. I'm going to up-level you if you the real one. I'm going to multiply whatever you do. And a real woman, only if she's healed, ladies, not just by virtue of your gender, only if she's healed. This is all what witch meant in an African context. The word age means witch, but it also means money. Iami Osorongo, the night mothers. The night mothers are beings you don't want to deal with if you are disrespectful towards women. You don't want no parts of that. This is where the European gets the notion hell hath no fury, like a woman scorned. If you read the African spiritual belief system, you'll see that the male representatives of God, Olodumare, right, didn't respect the female representatives of God, in particular Oshun. And in the story, to teach the lesson, she took all sweetness and the flowing waters of life away. And everything dried up. And now the male gods are complaining to the higher reality, the source of all that is Olodumare. And he says, well, you shouldn't have left her out. It was a message. You can't leave the woman out because she's a counterbalance. That's why in Ifa, the divination system starts with light and dark, up and down, as above, so below, and then progressively goes on further. But back to the point. Are black preachers protecting white spiritual pathology in their teachings? Right? Because the white man was afraid of black men and women deathly. He knew that we had a power in our unity. That's why every time or every instrument or device we needed to unify, he would take it away. Take the drum away. Take the dance away. Take everything away that will bring them together, because if they come together, we really can't whoop no ass. We know for a fact that missionaries often traveled with colonial governments. We know that for a fact enslaved Africans were sometimes given edited versions of the Bible that emphasized obedience and removed passages about liberation. Ask yourself a question. Is this part of the white man's teaching that has now slipped into prosperity teaching, where pastors are saying you must be obedient? You got to be more obedient to God, giving your money to God, than you are to giving your money to your mortgage. I saw the video where the man said, nah, you got to start with God. The man put the mortgage, he put the food to the kids, he put the phone bill. He said, you're more obedient to those things than you're giving to God. Let's go back. We know for a fact that enslaved Africans were sometimes given edited versions of the Bible that emphasized obedience and removed passages about liberation. Listen, the unification with God or higher consciousness or God's source is the ultimate liberation. If you understand what Jesus was teaching, the encoded truth that Jesus was teaching was, you can be like me, which is the highest liberation. What is the liberation from? The liberation from your ego, the small you. Peter saw difference between himself and Christ, which is why he couldn't walk on water, which is why Jesus said, "Oh, ye of little faith," the first time he put him back, when he put him back in the boat after walking on water for a few steps. It is the ego that keeps us small. Does this mean the Bible itself is false? No, it means interpretation has a history, and history leaves fingerprints on the mind. So when a black person says African spirituality is demonic, we have to ask a serious question. Is that conclusion coming from divine revelation or from some inherited interpretation? Because Christianity itself has deep African roots. Early centers of Christian thought existed in North Africa. Alexandria was one of the great intellectual capitals of the ancient world. Ethiopia has one of the oldest continuous Christian traditions on earth. older than the European one. So when did the European one become the default? And is the European one the default instructor of American taught theology, black Christian pastor? I want to know. So the real conflict was never Africa versus Christianity. The conflict was Africa versus colonial interpretation. And that distinction matters. Because once interpretations gets controlled, meaning gets controlled. And once meaning is controlled, identity gets controlled. Now bring the metaphor back. The bollweevil did not destroy the plantation by arguing with it. It destroyed the plantation by eating it from the inside out. So the question that I'm presenting to you today becomes psychological, not agricultural. Do black people need a kind of bollweevil consciousness? A consciousness that quietly consumes the inherited definitions of God, history, and knowledge of self that were planted during slavery and colonialism. All that's got to get ate up out of us. Not to destroy faith, not to destroy religion, but to refuse a version of the sacred that required us to forget ourselves in order to believe. Because there's a difference between faith and fear. Faith expands identity. Fear erases it. And when a people inherit a hierarchy where European equals holy and African equals pagan, and nobody remembers who built the original scale, this is what I call spiritual racism. We got another clip, right? Please play it. Let me pull it up here. Yep. Hey,
now,
while he's getting that ready,
let's talk about this
pause it
issue
for 1 second. While he's getting that ready, can I get you guys? There's almost 300 of us in here. I need everybody to support in a major way. We have 18 out of 30. I asked that 30 people join my goal here and drop a 5 spot on the super chat. The super chat is the little $ icon down at the bottom of the chat. You can go there or you can go to my Cash App. Me personally, I prefer you go to my Cash App. Please support. Go to my Cash App, $ZoWhatNetter, or come here on the YouTube channel. It's your discretion, but I need y'all to support. And don't forget, I got books for sale. Go to my website, MrZoWhat.com. I have 195 copies of my book remaining. Can we sell all of them today? 195 copies. Okay, let's sell 50. Can I get 50 of them off today? Please, please, please support. Now, play that video.
Now, let's talk about this issue about whether African spirituality is the same thing as witchcraft. And this is the problem that I have around that, because there's this demonization of blackness. So now they're telling us that this Oshun religion is witchcraft. Now, do people use voodoo and these religions for witchcraft? Absolutely. But is the religion witchcraft? Absolutely not. And I'll give you an example.
Another example is the Baphomet, right? They're accused of worshiping this ram-headed figure, right? Well, what that ram-headed figure was it was actually the god Amun of ancient Egypt, which was where we get the word Amen from.
Yeah.
And it was a ram because it was created during the age of Aries. All that Egyptian stuff was largely created during the age of Aries. Judaism came out of that age of Aries, which is why they use all this shepherd metaphor, and you'll see the rabbi with their locks that are made to look like lamb.
Yeah.
Lamb ears, and but the that word Baphomet, it actually comes from ancient Egyptian. Ba meant soul, Fa meant from, and Mat meant universal order. So it was literally the soul from the universal order. And that was Baphomet.
And villainizing you, they know your shit better than you, and then villainizing you. For years, Baphomet was one of the most evil figures ever, right? How is it that Egypt could be the source of masonry, the source of metaphysics, the source of Christianity, Islam, and Judaism, all of these belief systems, and then also the source of devil worship? Latoya, I hope you guys are okay out there. You guys be safe. Am I just droning along? Because I don't know if you guys are interested in what I'm talking about. D. Marie, okay. Well, maybe there's something. This is an interesting conversation. It became whitewashed. Everything the white man touches, he ethnocentricizes it. He makes it about him. He contaminates it. Then he elevates his contamination to the level of standard. This is the standard of how whatever this should be seen as, right? It's not witchcraft unless we deem it so. Why would you deem it so if you follow it so deeply? Follow everything we do. We heard Baphomet was evil, right, Mike? What? African spirituality equals pagan. And nobody remembers who built the scale. This is what I call spiritual racism. Spiritual racism is when a people inherit a racial ranking of the sacred and enforce it onto themselves and others. It is when the descendants of the colonized defend the colonizer's God map, without realizing that map was drawn during conquest. So my question is simple, but it's not easy. We have mistaken colonized theology for divine truth. We have confused obedience with enlightenment. We have inherited a fear of our own ancestors and called that faith. And we have, and if we have, then maybe the most radical thing we can do in this generation is not to burn down the field, but to become the bollweevil inside the plantation of the mind. Because once the system that taught you to hate yourself starts getting eaten from within, the harvest begins to change. And when the harvest changes, the people who used to work the field finally get to decide what grows there. Bowwevil theology. Stop protecting the white man's version, his misinterpretation of your ancestors' spiritual creation. Black women are magical by nature. Imagine. Black men too, magical by nature. Imagine being fooled, being hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray to believe that you are less than, to the point where you would pimp your own magic for a fiat currency. Your relationships become transactional. Your relationships become about give and take. Your relationship loses the power to cultivate magic that's already there. Spirit gardens connecting to each other, that's already there. A man who knew he was less than you. A man who knew I got to trick him in order to subdue him. I got to trick them. I got to fool them in order to subdue them. I got to use their kindness, their sweetness, their graciousness. I got to use all of that shit against them. And now who do we have the most vitriol for? Our own. Young kids running around with other brothers' dead mothers on their t-shirt. Then in retaliation to that, your daddy had your mama eating every box in Atlanta. Oh, that's going to be on the theme show? That's the theme song? See, we got more vitriol for everybody else or for ourselves. We don't have no vitriol for anybody else. We got more vitriol between each other than we have for anybody else. The world is looking at who's going to be the next Michael Jackson, who's going to be the next Prince, who's going to be the next Kobe Bryant, who's going to be the next Michael Jordan, who's going to be the next LeBron. The world is looking for that, and we're looking to hate on each other, condemn each other. Oh, the world has a love-hate. The world would hate for you to return to your original station in this reality. But the world loves the magic you use and how you create out of survival mode. Everything we've ever done is out of survival mode. Everything. Every music form is out of survival mode. All technology we created out of survival mode. All education we've achieved out of survival mode. Every music style, every genre, every dance is created out of survival mode. And all they got is how do we keep them in survival mode? The rest of the world is going absolutely nuts. It's on fire. And all we can do is keep the fire lit between each other. Latoya, you trying to have a regular conversation with me. I'm in the middle of a whole discussion. Sarah is okay. She good. Latoya came in here. She want to talk. Hey, Latoya, how you doing? One of my childhood homies is up in here. What up, Haggerty? Haroon. He says sometimes the Baphomet is called the goat of Mendez. Yup. Facts. I want to keep going. Can y'all support the channel? We still got 19 of 30. I asked 30 people out of the 200 and some odd people. Yes, we can reschedule. Tomorrow at 2:30. Yes, that works. Listen, man, I'm over here trying to, I was my editor for my latest book. On Fridays after the show, we get together and we go through the chapters. I want to keep going. I just need y'all to show up. We got 5 Cash Apps. Can y'all go cash mob my Cash App? Go cash mob the Cash App. We're only asking $5. Can y'all go support the Cash App? Do your brother a favor. Please support my Cash App. $ ZoWhat Netter. Support, support, support. Again, support the book. The Shrouded Lighthouse is on my website, MrZoWhat.com. MrZoWhat.com. And of course, I will be shipping out these orders, even though my people be like, fuck Zo. I ordered 2 days ago. I'm gonna ask for a refund. What? Hey, Cameron, thank you for your Shrouded Lighthouse order. I appreciate it. That's what we got today. We got 1 book order, and it's from the homie Cameron. Cameron, we appreciate it. I'm going to get it out to you ASAP. All right. Let's continue. And again, I hope you guys understand, I'm not trying to disrespect Christianity, because anything black folk believe in belongs to us. I say that because we're the magic. That's why our Christianity look different. It feel different. It vibrate different. Right? Anything we believe in, we can claim it as ours. Because we animate it with our rhythm, with our life. I'm good, man. We have confused obedience with enlightenment. We have inherited a fear of our own ancestors, and we call it faith. Then, maybe the most radical thing we can do in this generation is to not burn down the field, but to become the bollweevil inside the plantation of the mind. Because once the system that taught you to hate yourself starts getting eaten from within, the harvest changes. And when the harvest changes, the people who used to work the field finally get to decide what grows there. How did African spirituality become demonic in the minds of African people? Or African descended people, whether it be FBA, whether it be ADOS. How did African spirituality become evil? Not how Europeans, I just want you to think on the magnitude of the question. Not how Europeans called African spirituality demonic. That part makes historical sense. Conquest always comes with a theology. The conqueror never just takes lands. The conqueror takes languages, takes symbols, takes meanings, takes gods, and then hands the conquered back a translated version of themselves with the warning label already attached. What makes our conversation dangerous today is not what the European said. It is what we keep saying. Are we still under their foot? Ah, damn, Haroon. I'm gonna call you, bro. Damn. All right, y'all. I guess I'm gonna slowly wrap this thing up. Do we have any questions before I get up out of here? Do we? Should I keep going? Do we have questions? Should I keep going? Listen, you can follow me on, what is it, Voice of Reason? On TikTok. I'm on TikTok. I do my KBLA Talk 1580 radio show. I do the behind the scenes on my TikTok from Monday through Thursday. All right, on TikTok. Fridays, I come here and do the ZoWhat morning show. This was really just a big giant inquiry, questioning where our belief systems come from. As a matter of fact, Lloyd, I did get the package. As a matter of fact, the brother Mike, he literally brought it to the cigar lounge and left it for me. Honors, brother Zoe. 10. Thanks for delivering us always. All right, nothing but love, brother. The Untamed Way. Thank you for the support. And like I said, if we could get 10, 15 people to push over to my Cash App. I mean, it's 300 people in here. I'm asking maybe 10, 20 people to go to the Cash App and drop a 5 spot. Support your brother Zoe if you enjoyed this information. Chris Brown said, keep going. Stop mentioning FBA with ADOS. They are not the same. See, therein lies the problem. Don't tell me what to do on my own channel. Both those brothers who created those two organizations are friends of mine. You shut your following ass up. I'm at a different level, brother. I'm here to teach you. Don't come in here with no level of disrespect. It will not be tolerated. Brother Tariq is a friend of mine, as is Tone Talks. You understand? So don't come in here thinking you're an authority on shit in here, brother. Show the proper respect. See, I don't like it when you want to emphasize division. I say both of them because I don't emphasize division, goofy ass nigga. You're not ready to have a conversation with me, dog. I don't know. You're not ready to talk to me. Go talk to somebody else. I'm not the one you should talk to. You in the dig? I am not him. Oh, I'm glad y'all got him up out of here, boy, because boy, that Gemini switch, bing. Next thing you know, what is up? So, first off, did you guys understand what I was trying to say? The Bowwevil analogy. Did you guys understand any of that? I want you guys to share your thoughts, and I want to read some of your thoughts before I close out the show today. Okay, now y'all showing up in the Cash App. Let's keep it going. Cali Soul, Stan, Listen Brother, Lloyd, Booby, Big Pay Back Porter. Because Big Pay and Back Porter are their own compounds. So I had to say that. Big Pay, Back Porter. Wayne, Nasheed, yeah, man, please continue to support. If you want me to keep going, I want y'all to support. If you want me to keep going, I want y'all to support. So, try Jesus, not Zoe. That's 100% fact. Zoe, not goofy. Hey, I'm sorry. I'm not one to be trifled with. And I don't like when black people attack black people. You know, black organizations. Man, we might have our differences, we might have our disagreements, but this is exactly what I'm talking about when I say you speak in the terminology of white supremacy. When you say African spirituality is evil, that's white spiritual supremacy, right? And then a brother come in here and say, don't put this black term with this black term. because they not the same. I'm not getting into the particulars. Those are two organizations started by two black people, and I'm so happy to be friends with both of them, and I'm not going to disrespect either by omitting one or the other. Am I wrong for that? So give me your thoughts on today's topic. If you guys could sum it up, if you guys could sum up today's discussion in a couple of words, what would you say? Jesus represents the soul. I could smoke a bag of that. I done studied so many religions, I understand these are all linguistic symbols for something that can't be put into words. So I have respect for Christianity. I have respect for Judaism, Islam, Taoism, Shintoism, Buddhism, Hinduism. I have respect for all of them. Brotherhood, manhood, fatherhood. You said nope. Did you not understand today's topic? I know you did. I'm not even. If you don't want to rock with something, just don't rock with it. And be quiet. Right. Respectfully, FBA is not an organization. What we're not going to do is turn this into a conversation about ADOS and FBA. That's what we're not going to do. Up there as a 10, make sure you're listening for actual Jesus, not the white devil. That's funny. That's how you framed it. I like that. Okay, we framing today's topic before I get out of here. And everybody, don't forget, support the best way you know how. Support the best way you know how. I'd appreciate whatever little bit of change you could throw my way. Please support. Please continue to support. Again, I got to go send off these packages. I have books. I'm trying to sell 50 copies today. The book, with tax and everything is like $41. The book itself costs $29, but the shipping and handling is like $13. It costs about $41. I will ship it out to you. We've got 195 copies remaining, or 194 copies remaining. Go to my website, MrZoWhat.com, and purchase the book. We're trying to move the remaining 200 copies. We sold 4 copies or 5 copies in a week. So let's keep pushing. We doubled the output. Yes.
So let's double it again.
Let's do 10. Yeah, exactly. Let's do 10. How about it? Can we get 10 people to sign up? That's a way to look at it, Mike. 10 people. Let's do it. Latoya says this is too much dissection of the African population. Oh, there is too much dissection of the African population for me. Can't we all just get along? No, because Africans are colonized. Many of them, not all of them. Many Africans are colonized and have a colonized mindset, as many black folk here in America have a colonized mindset. How else would Margaret Sanger be able to go exclusively to black preachers in the Deep South and pay them to convince their congregations to have abortions? Margaret Sanger's belief was, hey, this is eugenics. Black people are idiots and social weeds. She literally called us weeds. We are social weeds and need to be pruned. She was the founder of Planned Parenthood. It was the American extension of the eugenics movement. Why are the eugenics movement founders and then the folk over there with Hitler and all that, why do they all believe the same things? Hitler and them people believed in eugenics. Oh, we can clean out folk. And Margaret Sanger went to the black clergy first the black clergy has some apologizing to do. Just like our African cousins, you got some apologizing to do and some reparations to pay. It ain't only the white man. The African man got rich off of slavery too. And cousin, you owe us reparations too. Then to get over here, colonized mind. A white woman who wants to further destroy black people, Margaret Sanger. She went to the black clergy. Black clergy, historically, you owe us an apology. If the Pope can go back to Israel and apologize for the Pope during the 40s inactivity, right? His passivity, when Israel was becoming a state, the Pope later apologized for it. The Pope apologized for racism. The APA apologized for racism. How come the black clergy hasn't apologized for racism? For pushing a racist doctrine? Would the black clergy step up and apologize? Your hands ain't dirty in no way, shape, or form? Zoe, Dr. Valentine, Brother Panic. What is this? Zoe, Dr. Valentine, Brother Panic, all leaders who've shown us we are gods, as above, so below, as within, so without. That's all I need to know. Hey, Dev Woos, thank you. Dev Woos. Listen, we only 4 super chats away from hitting the 30 mark here on my channel. Isaiah hit us with a 5 spot. We appreciate it. The greatest trick that the devil ever pulled was convincing the world that he was God. That's right. That's right. We better stop calling the first man African. The first man existed. The first Homo sapien existed before Africa was even named. He's not an African. He's an everywherean. Y'all being pimped philosophically, linguistically, psychologically. That's how they controlled us. Mind games, word tricks. The Nation of Islam's doctrine used to call it Tricknology. And that's really a philosophical angle. Let me play a game. Let me trick them into conforming to whatever it is that I need. How do you do that? Oh, control the definitions. It was Alfred Korzybski, the famed linguist, who said, the definition creates the condition. Oh, they knew if I could redefine who they think they are, if I could get access to their internal definitionary, the thing that defines them, if I could get access to that pen and I begin to rewrite. How you arguing with the white man's interpretation? Black people don't even want to use the word nigga no more, because the white man said it meant ignorant. And then the white man said, historically, this is the word I'm going to use to really break you down psychologically. But if you go back and you study its origins, it means God. Makes sense. Psychological games, right? I ain't going to never let you call yourself a God again. I'm going to take the word you use for God and make it mean stupid, unlearned, uncivilized. And now, to prove something to me, because you're traumatized by me through generational trauma, you're going to never use the word again as a show of strength. No, it's a show of amnesia. The fuck? Spiritual amnesia. That was the greatest trick. You ain't going to never remember who the fuck you were. Hell nah. Hell nah. You're the nigga I define you as. You're not negus, negus, nagas. No. You're not the Uraeus, the serpent king, the god king. Oh no, you're not that. That's devil worship. Better watch it. White God ain't gonna let you into white heaven. You better watch it. All right, you guys. Yeah. All right. That's enough. I'm gone. I guess y'all supported me to the best of your ability today, and I'm grateful. I'm appreciative. Hey, Lloyd by himself gave 3 super chats or 3 cash apps. He gave 3 cash apps and really 3 cash apps and maybe 2 or 3 super chats. Come on, Zoe Furpo. Furpo is one of my best friends. Furpo is a theologian. He is a scholar. Right? The Furpo is from Nickerson Gardens. But he talked like Carlton Banks from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. But he's highly educated. He has put his hands on the Dead Sea Scrolls. He's translated the Dead Sea Scrolls. And the last time I saw him, he was finally getting into what he and I had been arguing over for nearly 10, 20 years now, and that is the merit of Egyptology. The reason why he didn't get into Egyptology, because at the time he was a Jehovah's Witness. Now, you may have seen Furpo. TMC Daddy, thank you, man. Only 3 away from 30 on the super chat here. You may have seen him during the Michael Jackson trials. He was the family's spokesperson because he was a high-ranking member of the Jehovah's Witness at the time. And this very conversation that I'm having with you today, I've been holding it for years because this is the conversation I had with Furpo Carr. I was like, how are you a Jehovah's Witness? I was like, Charles Taze, Charles Rutherford, these are Masons. They started a Masonic order couched in Christianity. Joseph Smith started the Mormons. Charles Taze, Rutherford, they start the damn Jehovah's Witnesses. This is Masonry couched as Christianity. And I would just crush him. And I showed him the pictures of the founders of the Jehovah's Witness. His graveyard has a giant pyramid on it. And it says 32 degree, 32nd degree, or 33 degree Mason. I was like, what? You got all this knowledge, but you don't know nothing. You can read Aramaic. I mean, me and him were going back and forth. Modi is the one who put us together. Because the first relationship roundtable we had it at this Hollywood television show writer. Her name was Dale. We had it at Dale's house. And Dale was tight with Furpo. And Mo is tight with me. And Mo and Dale are tight. So Mo and Dale are having this back and forth. Man, my guy knows the book, knows the Bible better than, anybody. And then Mo was like, nah, my homeboy know the book like crazy. You crazy. Well, let's get them two together and kind of unleash them on each other, unbeknownst to either one of them. And that's how I met Furpo. Furpo has an amazing, he has the book Poison Minds, Wicked Words, Poison Minds, where he takes every word in the dictionary and takes it back to its etymological root and shows its racist origin. Wicked, it's Poison Words, it's called Wicked Minds, Poison Words, something like that. Go get it. It's on Amazon right now. Then he also did a book about the Holocaust before what happened in Germany, the Holocaust of Leopold, down in South Africa, where they killed 18 million black people, before there was ever even a Holocaust in Germany. Furpo did a whole expose. One thing about Furpo, he's a Virgo. So the brother is, the detail with which he executes his work is top tier, top shelf. And me and Furpo, we've been going back and forth battling for years. That's how I sharpened my sword. He sharpened his sword. I was like, dude, you're missing all of this. You got the education, but who educated you? And what was their intent, and what information did they leave out? So, yeah. He spoke on the show before. Yeah, he did. All right, guys, I really got to go now. Again, if you want to support me, go to my Cash App now. Support. Go to my Cash App, $ ZoWhat Netter, or you can go to my website, MrZoWhat.com, and purchase a copy of my book, please. We're trying to get 10 copies, as Mike said. Mike said 10. I'm going to say 10. Mike, I appreciate you for coming in here. I appreciate you for making it back. Do we have another video? Should we go out on one of those videos? Yeah. And we're going to go out on this. And as we go out on this, man, y'all find it in your heart to drop a little coin on my Cash App or the Super Chat. We appreciate y'all. Thank you for tapping in. Thank you for listening. Deuces.
They took your name, your land, your language, but not your legacy. Reclaim it at AfricanAncestry.com.
For viewers unfamiliar with your work, right, especially your tours inspired by Egypt on the Potomac, can you explain the connection between Kemet, Freemasonry, and the layout and symbolism embedded in Washington, D.C.?
So because of the fact that I was born in Chicago, Chicago is the home of architecture. The first skyscraper in the world was built in Chicago. Chicago has some of the greatest architecture in the world. I had aspirations of being an architect. I took 2 years of architecture courses in high school. My freshman year at the University of Illinois, I majored in architecture. I was ready for a change. I left University of Illinois, came to Howard, changed my major from architecture to design. So I am by training an artist. I've been drawing all of my life. And the beautiful thing about artists is that artists have the capacity to see things that aren't there. Artists have the capacity to create things and bring them into existence. So because of my training as an artist, I've learned to view history through the lens of art, and that I can read a book and visualize what the person is talking about. I can see images, I can see shapes. So when I look at things around me, I see them on multiple levels simultaneously. I look at buildings, I could read a building like a person would read a book, right? Because I understand what goes into creating a building and designing a building. So I made my first trip to Egypt in 1980. I made my second trip to Egypt in 1985. And after returning to DC for my second trip to Egypt, I saw the Washington Monument and said, wait a minute, I just saw those in Egypt. And I realized the Washington Monument is called an obelisk, which is a Greek name for an identical object that was created in Egypt that was known as a tekken. It's the oldest symbol of resurrection. So I began asking questions. Why is there a tekken in Washington, D.C.? And why has D.C. law mandated that there's no object that can be taller than that structure? So I ask questions, and every question seeks an answer, right? And as I was pursuing answers to the questions that I was asking, that led to the creation of what was originally known as the Afrocentric Tour of Washington, D.C., which I created in 1986. In 2005, I rebranded it Egypt on the Potomac. So that activity will be 40 years next year. And what it consists of is my curiosity leading me to answer the question, why is the Washington Monument the tallest object in Washington, D.C.? And by researching the history of the layout, design, and development of the city, I created the Egypt on the Potomac field trip. And so I discovered that America's founding fathers, many of whom were Masons, had an understanding and appreciation of Kemetic or Nile Valley history and culture. And that Tekken, the Washington Monument, is a 6,000-year-old symbol that represents the resurrection of Asar. The Asar story is the oldest story, the first story of resurrection known to mankind. So when the Masons erected that building, I think around 1880, they actually they named the monument in honor of George Washington for the public perception. But inside of the monument, they actually dedicated to Asar, the first king of Kemet. So information is always presented on multiple levels. And so my interest is in drilling down into the deeper levels of the presentation of anything. So Article 1, Section 8 of the U.S. Constitution set aside an area no larger than a 10-mile square that was to serve as the capital of the United States of America. First capital was in New York, then it moved to Philly, then it was in Delaware, then it was at multiple locations. And these white men decided that they needed to create a permanent seat of government for the United States. George Washington was charged with the responsibility for determining where that new seat of government was going to be. George Washington was, in many respects, the Donald Trump of his day. He brokered deals with people who own land in Maryland and people who own land in Virginia on the east and west banks of the Potomac River. And so he had them sell their land to the government at an inflated price. And once that 10-mile square on the east and west bank of the Potomac River was identified, then they came in and bought plots of land at a reduced rate and then sold those plots of land to the federal government at an inflated rate, right? So that's how Washington, D.C. came to be created, but also a 10-mile square. A square is important because squares in masonry are foundations upon which men's lives are transformed. So it makes sense that since America was established by men who were practitioners of the craft, white men who studied African knowledge, and they used that African knowledge to lift themselves up out of poverty, out of ignorance. So they practice African principles without identifying them as African. And they use those principles to create what has become the wealthiest and most powerful nation in human history. So that's why you have African